What's up, people? Maximum Pointsport. You're welcome back here. We're here to review the 2024-2025 season. It's become a tradition that at every end of the season we get to review the season, not just at the peripheral level. We are here to talk about every single details that happened during the course of the season. So, brethren, I've got him bound ready. Let's jump into it together. Of course, it's going to be some time behind the camera and behind the lights. So, guess what? Let's jump into the case. So, in a recap of the season, in the 2024-2025 season, Arsenal finished as runners-up in the Premier League, failing to secure the title for the third time in a row. While their domestic performance was a setback, they advanced to the Champions League semi-finals. They also reached the semi-final of the EFA Cups, but were eliminated early in the FA Cup. In the Premier League, Arsenal finished second in the Premier League. Despite having the best defensive record, they scored 22 fewer goals and conceded 5 more compared to the previous season. Despite the better, defensive record, they also drew 9 more games, and won 8 fewer games. Although they lost fewer matches compared to the previous year. 9 more games. Let me stress on that because that was where the league was won and lost. In the FA Cup, Arsenal were eliminated in the third round of the FA Cup. On the European stage, although Arsenal managed to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League, a step further in their quarter-final exit in the previous season. So overall, Arsenal's domestic performance was a disappointment, failing to challenge for the title and lacking all the attacking prowess of the previous season. They showed improvement in the Champions League run, reaching the semi-finals. Some fans expressed dissatisfactions with Arteta's tactical choices in the team's style of play, particularly during the Premier League campaign. While finishing second is not a failure, it is considered disappointing by many fans, especially considering the team's strong performance in previous season. So the fans are saying this is a disappointing season, you should understand that it is, because we can't just be finishing second best season in, season out. This is the third time. Okay, now let us get into every details. Let's get into every details as to how the season panned out and everything that happened during the course of the season. After the UEFA Euro 24, the season began with pre-season. And one of the first happenings in the club was Arsenal on June 24 announced that Estonian goalkeeper and academic graduate Karl Hein has signed a new contract. It was reported on 15 July that the first team players who hadn't been away on international duty at the Euro 2024 and Copa America were back at the London Colney training ground for the preseason. Then, on the 21st of July, Arteta named an initial 26-man squad, including 12 academy players, for the trip to the US for, the preseason and all of that. 3 days later, Arsenal faced Premier League rivals Bournemouth at whatever park at Carson in California. Fabio Vieira gave the Gunners a first-half lead with a volley. The Cherries equalized through a deflected Antoine Semenyo goal. Following the game, a pre-planned penalty shootout took place, which saw Arteta's side triumph 5-4 with Kivio netting the winning spot kick. I still remember that very well. On the 27th day of July, the Gunners took on the Premier League club Manchester United at SoFi Stadium, the home ground of the National Football League's Los Angeles Rams, which is also owned by the Kroenkes, so the Kroenkes and do a lot of business. Rasmus Højlund gave Manchester United an early lead, while Gabriel Jesus leveled for Arteta's side with a close-range finish. Substitute Martinelli scored a late goal, helping Arsenal win 2-1. The post-match penalty shootout, United won 4-3, following the misses from Havertz and Kivio. So, Arsenal played their third final game in the 10-day USA tour against, the big rivals Liverpool at the Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on the 31st day of July. Goals from Mohamed Salah, Fabio Carvalho gave Liverpool 2-0 lead. The Gunners pulled one back through Kai Havertz's close-range shot, but they were unable to find an equalizer after the game. Arteta's team flew back to London overnight. Then became, the serious preparation for the season and all of that. On the 6th day of August, the club confirmed that Alexander Zinchenko would wear the number 17 shirt, moving from the previous number 35. The Gunners continued their preparation for the new season with a 4-1 win over reigning Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen. Was a great game, as a matter of fact. On the 7th day of August, Zinchenko, Trossard, Gabriel Jesus all scored in the first half. Havertz then, added a fourth after halftime. Xabi Alonso's side claimed a late consolation through Adam Hoschek. I don't know if I got that name right anyway. I'm not Fabrizio Romano. Okay, let's jump into it together, like he always say. Arsenal finished their preseason campaign by beating League One side Lyon 2-0, claimed the 2024 Emirates Cup. Oh my God, tired of that cup. On 11 August, Saliba and Andre Maguire both scored from Rice corners in the first half. New signings, Ricardo Calafiori made his non-competitive debut for the Gunners as a substitute in the 64th minute. Okay, first team transfer for the summer. What the business is like Arsenal engaged, over the summer. I know a certain man rated this transfer 7 out of 10. The Premier League summer transfer window ran from 14 June to 30th August 2024. Arsenal announced on the 3rd June they were to release 22 players, 2 of whom Mohamed Elneny and Cedric Soares, who made 161 and 64 appearances for the Gunners respectively. On the 4th of July, the club confirmed that they had completed the permanent signing of 28-year-old Spanish goalkeeper and reigning Premier League Golden Glove winner David Raya from Premier League side Brentford on a long-term deal. So the transfer was reported to be something around £27 million. He is the 15th player from Spain to represent Arsenal's first team. So on 15th of July, the Gunners announced the departure of 2 first-team players. Belgian midfielder Albert Sambi-Lokonga, you remember him, joined La Liga side Sevilla on a season-long loan, and Portuguese defender Nuno Tavares. I mean, these guys are still players. Okay, let's go. Arsenal confirmed on 29 July that 22-year-old Italian defenders Riccardo Calafiori has joined the club on a long-term contract from Serie A side Bologna. A reported fee of around £33.6 million. And he will wear the number 33 shirt, would be the 4th Italian to feature for the Gunners in the competitive action on only the 4th. Wow, that's quite, you know what I mean. On the 2nd of August, the club announced that English midfielder and academy graduate Emile Smith-Rowe, who had made 115 first-team appearances in all competition for the Gunners, joined Premier League side Fulham on a permanent transfer. The fee was reported to be around £27 million, which was like he paid that for David Raya, you know what I mean? Potentially rising to £34 million by the ways. The Gunners confirmed on 13th of August that Estonian goalkeeper Karl Hein had joined La Liga side Real Valladolid, so he'll be coming back after signing that deal on a 1-year loan. On 27th of August, Arsenal announced that 28-year-old Spanish goalkeeper and Euro 2024 winner Mikel Merino had joined the club from La Liga side Real Sociedad on a long-term contract. The transfer fee was reported to be an initial £27 million, possibly rising by £4 million or so. On 28 August, the club confirmed the loan departure of the Portuguese midfielder Fabio Vieira to Porto. As you all know, the English transfer deadline day was 30th August, and on that day, Arsenal announced that the club had signed 35-year-old Brazilian goalkeeper Neto on the season-long loan from Premier League side Bournemouth. He went on to wear the number 32 shirt. 29-year-old English forward Raheem Sterling on the same night, transfer deadline when Arsenal needed a striker, 29-year-old English forward Raheem Sterling joined Arsenal on a one-year-long loan from Premier League club Chelsea after a deal was submitted to allow his move to go through beyond the transfer deadline and stuff like that. I'm just pissed by this transfer, seriously, when we needed a striker. Let's go on. On the same day, the Gunners confirmed the departure of three first-team players. English goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, that pissed me off as well, joined Premier League side Southampton on a permanent transfer for a record fee of £18 million. And then Edin Ketia, of course, an academic graduate who made 168 appearances for the team, competition, joined Crystal Palace as well on a permanent deal. The fee was reported to be an initial 25 million, potentially rising to 30. So after the summer transfer window was closed, there were 22 players in the first team squad: 2 goalkeepers, 9 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 5 forwards. 6 other first team players were out on loan. Okay, so we get into the season. The season began in August. Arteta's side kicked off the Premier League campaign with a 2-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers at home on the 17th day of August. Havertz headed in the 25th minute. He headed from Saka's cross before the roles were reversed on the 74th minute, and Saka picked up Havertz's pass and rifled into the near post. Arsenal's goalkeeper Raya made 2 vital saves to keep out Jurgen Strand Larsen's close range header and Pablo Sarabbia's first time volley. So the result meant that the Gunners had scored in each of their last 34 meetings with Wolves in all competitions, the longest scoring streak against an opponent in the club's history. That was a record, by the way. On the 24th day of August, Arsenal played their first away game of the season against Aston Villa. Very tense game. The only side to complete the league double over the Gunners in the previous campaign. Yeah, and that was the game. That was the side that made us lose that league. The hosts thought they had taken the lead on the 54th minute when Amadou Nana's deflected shot looped up onto the crossbar, with the rebound falling for an unmarked Oli Watkins. And let me talk about that save. What a save! That should be one of the saves of the season. Yeah, absolutely, a double save. I think like a double save. Yeah, from David Raya. Raya got off the ground and made a stunning one-hand stop, which would later win August 2024 Premier League Save of the Month award. Substitute Leandro Trossard broke the deadlock on the 67th minute, sweeping home with his first touch. Partey scored his first away goal, I mean to say, in the Premier League. 77 minutes with a long-range effort. 2 minutes later, Arsenal sent the new signing, Ricardo Calafiori, for his Gunners debut. The 2-0 win meant that Arsenal had won the first 2 games in the top flight campaign without conceding for the 3rd time in the club's history. So, getting into the next game, on 30th of August, Arsenal announced that the new recruit Mikel Merino, who joined the club 3 days prior, suffered a shoulder injury that was massive as well. In the training session with the team, he would be out of action for a few weeks, and Gabriel Jesus and Takehiro Tomiyasu were also out injured. That's so the real history of our season, has begun. So let's continue. Ahead of the first international break of the season, the Gunners played a home game against Brighton and Hove on 31st August. Arteta was forced to name 4 academy players on the bench because the deadline day signings, Neto and Sterling, were not registered in time, to play for the match, and there were no other fit senior players until that point. So Arsenal controlled the first half of the game too. I still remember this game very, very clear. Controlled the first half of the game, took the lead in the 38th minutes with Kai Havertz's goal. But the game completely changed 4 minutes into the second half when Rice was shown the first red card of his career by referee Chris Kavanagh. Stupid. stupid. And since then, PGMO changed that rule. That was 2 points dropped. You changed that rule, and that began the misery. It began Arsenal's misery and woe for the season. 15 draws, and this is one of them. Arsenal went on to draw that game 1-1, and yeah, we moved on to the international break and back. On 4th of September, the club submitted their 2024-25 Champions League squad for the league phase of the competition. 22 first-team players and young goalkeeper Tommy Setford, who joined Arsenal's academy from Dutch side Ajax in July, were registered on the squad list A. As a matter of fact, 9 days later, the club confirmed that 22 first-team players and 48 under-21 players were registered in the 24-25 Premier League squad list of the first half of the season. Arsenal announced on 12th September that Mikel Arteta had signed a new deal with the club, reportedly keeping him at the Emirates Stadium until 2027. A day later, Arsenal confirmed that Odegaard suffered an ankle injury during the Norway game against Austria on 9th September, and Calafiori had returned from Italy duty with a calf injury. History, I mean, it continues with the injury. So, the Gunners continue with the Premier League campaign with North London derby away win against Tottenham Hotspur on 15th September. Arsenal faced a sudden lack of midfield options and was forced to name 5 academic players on the bench because 6 of the team players were injured up until that point, and Rice was suspended for the game in the 64th minute. So imagine Odegaard and Rice didn't play that game. Remember that? I still remember that very well. In the 64th minute, Gabriel Magalhaes netted the only goal of the game with a header from Saka, becoming the 4th Arsenal player to score 10+ headed goals in the Premier League. Wow. New loan signing Sterling made his debut for the Gunners in a substitute, as a substitute in the 80th minute. The one meant the Gunners had won 6 consecutive Premier League away matches for the first time since 2013. So, Arsenal opened their 2024-2025 campaign for the Champions League in Bergamo, Italy, facing previous season's Europa League champions Atalanta on 19th September, and of course in the 40th minute with the score still 0-0, the hosts were awarded a penalty after Partey had fouled El Sain. However, Raya made a save. That game finished 0-0. Nothing big to talk about that game. It was a very still game. So, going forward, the Gunners played their 3rd consecutive away game in 7 days against first place Manchester City. Okay. On the 22nd of September, Erling Haaland opened scoring early on the for the host. Arteta's side drew level with a long-range stunner scored by Ricardo Calafiori. Still remember that quick free kick. Then took the lead through Gabriel Magalhaes' header. Arsenal went 2-1 up, heading to the halftime, of course, and we all joined only to have the second heartbreak of the season. So let's jump into that. However, in the final seconds of the first half, Trossard was given the controversial second yellow card for kicking the ball away and delaying the start. That was the second. I mean, in that same game, I still remember that game. In that same game, Doku did exactly even a far more worse thing, but Trossard was given a red card for. Life of an Arsenal fan, yeah? Until the 8-minute stoppage time when John Stones latched onto the rebound. Actually, I thought that game paid a lot of respect to Man City. Yes, I know we're 10 man down. Yes, I know it was at the Etihad. But at least, we didn't even get out at all. The respect, yeah, we should have paid that respect and stayed back, actually, to curtail them. But it was too much. The entire 45 minutes. Nobody because Saka was subbed off. At least a player should be up front, to at least kick the ball away, go to the corner or stuff, take out some time, or even make another goal from the corner, because Manchester City were weak and stuff like that from set pieces. So, but that happened, and in the last minute, the equalizer from John Stones, that game finished 2-2, and we move on. Arsenal's 2024 EFL Cup campaign began with the third round against League One side Bolton Wanderers at home. 25th September, Arteta opted to rest several first-team players and chose very much youthful team with an average age of 23 and 87 days. The youngest starting 11, maybe virtually is almost the youngest squad is named during this time at Arsenal. But with number one stopper Raya and 18-year-old on the study Tommy Setford injured, the summer loan Neto, was called to duty. Arteta called Arsenal's fourth choice Jack Porter, and 16 years and 72 days became the youngest goalkeeper to play for Arsenal's first team. And Gunners went ahead on the 16 minutes through it, and Nwaneri netted his first two senior goals for the team on the 37th and 49th minutes respectively. Yeah, and then of course Sterling as well netted his first Arsenal goal in the 64th minute. Defender Maldini Kakuri made his senior debut with a substitute in the 70th minute, becoming the first Albanian national, to represent Arsenal in the first team. First wrapped up on the 77th minute. Young winger Ismail Kabia received the ball in the 85th minute, and then of course the 5-1 result advanced Arsenal to the next round. A big highlight in that game actually, except Nwaneri scoring the brace. Yeah, and the next game on the 28th of September, Arteta's side played at home against newly promoted Leicester City. Martinelli opened the scoring, ending his 19 games. That's the productivity we're talking about. 19. How can a winger who plays constantly for Arsenal go 19 games, go drought? 19 games. That's half of the season. Oh my God. Dating back to fourth match. Leonard Trossard doubled the lead, but James Justin's deflected header and first time volley after the interval brought Leicester back on level terms. Imagine from 2-0 down to 2-2, the Gunners restored their goal advantage in the second half stoppage time. That was almost game ending, but then Arsenal ended up winning the game 4-2. In October, Arsenal returned to Champions League action, this time hosting the previous season's League One champions PSG. As you all know, PSG we played earlier in the season, and the Gunners took the lead in the 20th minute when Havertz headed in Trossard's cross. 15 minutes later, Saka called in a free kick into the crowded penalty area, of course, and the ball somehow evaded everyone and flew straight into the net. It was called a fluke goal, I still remember, but Saka scored his goal, so mean nothing. It was Arsenal's first direct free kick goal in the Champions League since November 2002, when Thierry Henry scored one against Italian side Roma. Wow. That means after that goal, because I can't remember any other goals being scored. I can't remember any other goal being scored in the Champions League after this goal until the next show against Real Madrid. We'll get there. In the 64th minute, Arteta handed a belated debut to summer signing Mikel Merino, who had recovered from injury, and of course Arsenal went on winning that game 2-0. Ahead of the second international break, Arteta's men played their seventh match on 5th October, faced newly promoted Southampton again at home. The second half goals from Kai Havertz, Martinelli, Saka saw Gunners come from behind to win 3-1 and extended their unbeaten start to the season. And after the international break, Arsenal faced 13th place Bournemouth away on 19th of October, already missing Odegaard and Saka through injury. So you can imagine Saka went out in October as well. People actually forget that. He went out through injury as well. The Gunners lost Saliba in the 30th minute as the French centre-back was shown his first red card of his career. Wow. After all this game, first red card of his career. And you're a defender playing all these big games and all of that, winning awards both in France and come on. That's a very huge one. That's a very huge one. I know people will talk about he's been off pace this season, but that's a very huge one. Saliba was initially given a yellow card, but the referee upgraded his decision to a red card after being instructed by the VAR. Martinelli missed a golden chance, as usual in it, to put Arsenal in front in the 69th minute, shooting straight That's his job always. I mean, it's so frustrating. Like, especially for someone like me who likes Martinelli. If Martinelli is one-on-one with a goalkeeper, I'm edgy. Absolutely. It is what it is, and Arsenal lost that game to Bournemouth 2-1. I mean 2-0. And yeah, we move. Arteta's side hosted the Ukrainian Premier League champions Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League on the 22nd of October, and Arsenal won that game 1-0. No much highlights on that game. On the 27th day of October, the Gunners played, at home against first place Liverpool. Saka opened the scoring in the 9th minute with a near post finish, of course. As you remember, the goal, becoming the youngest Arsenal player to net 50 Premier League goals. Yeah, that was beautiful. Virgil van Dijk leveled for Liverpool on the 18th minute with a close range header. Arteta's side retook the lead in the 41st minute with Miguel Merino. Gunners were undermined by injuries to key defenders like Gabriel Magalhaes. So Magalhaes has already gone on injury in October. Oh my God. And Jurgen Timber, after the break, having already been without suspended William Saliba and injured Calafiori. That's too bad. The pressure on the back line was consequently mounting before Liverpool equalized through Mohamed Salah in the 81st minute. So that game ended up 2-2. And yeah, again, our draws keep on mounting. These draws, I know you want to say, like, yeah, there are reasons for all of these draws. There are reasons to why. You want to name injuries, you want to name unfortunate red cards, you want to name unfortunate PGMO decisions and all of that. But this is the history of the Arsenal's 2024-25 season. Arsenal continued their EFL campaign on the 30th of October against Preston North End and won the game 3-0. Advanced to the quarterfinals. In November, the Gunners faced 12th place Newcastle away on 2nd of November. Alexander Isak scored the only goal of the game for the host. A very poor game, and absolutely, I was gutted because Arsenal played rubbish, absolute rubbish in this game. Arsenal had good chances to draw level with Miguel Merino's shot blocked on the line and Rice heading wide from close range in either half. This was the time since May 2022 that Arsenal had lost successive away matches in the Premier League. It was revealed that Rice had suffered a broken toe in that particular game. Arteta's men made the trip to Italy in the Champions League against Serie A champions Inter Milan. Of course, a game that I was there very much. I had fan cam as well with AFTV. In the first half stoppage time, the hosts were awarded a spot key after the ball, ricocheted into Merino's arm, and yeah, although he did not have time to move his arm, definitely that decision was really, really poor. And yeah, Hakan Calhanoglu or Calhanoglu or whoever scored that goal and Inter won that game 1-0. Was a very sad day, actually. My first Champions League game, actually my first game, watching Arsenal was very bad. So on the 10th November 2024, the Gunners faced 4th place Chelsea away in the final fixture before the 3rd international break. And after a scoreless first half draw, Havertz had a goal ruled out for offside with VAR. Martinelli put Arsenal in front on the hour mark, and he topped home a cross by Martin Odegaard, who made his first start since 31st August. Long time. Pedro Neto slammed in from distance and dragged the host level. 10 minutes later, Arsenal squandered a golden chance in stoppage time as Saliba played an inviting ball across the Chelsea box. But Trossard poked wide there from a close range. With Havertz waiting to tap in, but he poked wide, and yeah, the game ended a draw. A run of early season injuries for Arteta's side continued, as it was reported on 13th November that Ben White had undergone surgery to resolve a knee injury. Wow. So the woes continue. The woes continues. I'm giving you these details so that you could, know exactly everything that happened, how the season panned out, and everything. 10 Arsenal player, of course, went to the international break, and when they were back, the Gunners played at home against 5th place Nottingham Forest, on 23rd November. This was Arteta's 250th game in charge of the Arsenal in all competition. The Gunners won that game by 2-0, and Waneri netted the late goal, becoming Arsenal's second youngster in Premier League, to win the Gunners' 2000th English top flight history game, making them the second side to reach this landmark. So, on the 26th of November, Arsenal recorded the biggest win in the Champions League by thumping, prime Sporting CP 5-1 in Lisbon. You remember that game. Arteta's side faced 14th place West Ham away on 30th November, winning 5-2 and moving up second place in the Premier League table. In December, Arsenal played the 500 competitive men's first team game at the Emirates Stadium. That was a record, and it was against Manchester United. Timber broke the deadlock on 54th minute when he flicked Rice's corner in at the near post, but in the 67th minute, Raya made a one-hand save at full stretch to claw away Martin Delay's header. And Arsenal doubled the lead, from on the 73rd minute, from Saka's far post corner, was headed back across by Partey, and bounced off with William Saliba and went into the net, won that game 2-0. And moving forward, Arteta's side faced 6th place Fulham on 8th December. Odegaard made his 100th start as captain. Raul Jimenez put the host ahead on the 11th minute. Saliba leveled for the Gunners. The game ended 1-1 draw. Arsenal 6 points behind leaders Liverpool at this particular stage of the season. Already 6 points. That's a huge one. The Gunners hosted the previous season's League One runners-up Monaco in the Champions League on 11th December. 18-year-old Miles Kelly was handed his first Champions League start. Rise of a great footballer, Miles Kelly. A great footballer is definitely going to be. So, becoming the youngest player to start for Arsenal in the competition since 2011. He played a key role in Saka's opener in the first half. After the break, Saka scored against and assisted substitute Kai Havertz, and it was a 3-0 win to Arsenal. The next game saw Arsenal played at home, against Everton. A match that finished, 0-0, very, 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 very stale game again. And 4 days later, Arsenal hosted Premier League side Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup. The visitors took the lead early through Philippe Mateta. Gunners turned the game around, of course. In the second half, Gabriel Jesus scored a hat-trick, ending his 3-6-7-day Emirates goal drought. 3-6-7-day. Of course, including injuries and all of that as well, but it's horrendous. It's horrendous. Arsenal won that game 3-2. Arteta's men crossed the capital to face Crystal Palace again a few days later in Premier League. Gabriel Jesus showed up again and helping the Gunners to win 5-1. On the 23rd December, Arteta confirmed in the pre-match conference that Saka would be out for a lengthy period after suffering hamstring injury. Oh my days! These are sad stories. But we move. Arsenal ended 2024 with a 1-0 win against newly promoted side Ipswich in January. The Gunners started 2025 with a trip to Brentford on New Year's Day. Arsenal won that game 1-0. Arteta's side reached the halfway point of the league campaign with 11 wins, 6 draws, and 2 losses. Wow. 6 draws. It means you are definitely heading. The trajectory was absolutely, you could already see the trajectory was definitely moving wrong. 6, you had, oh my God, let's continue this. Arteta's side faced 10th place Brighton away on 4th of January. Waneri netted in the 16th, minute, and then becoming the first player to score more than once in the competition before turning 18. In the 59th minute, Brighton forward Pedro flicked the ball of Arsenal's balls. William Saliba went to head either way, accidentally making contact with Pedro Neto in the air. However, referee Anthony Taylor awarded that controversial penalty. That was criminal. That was a criminal penalty. And again, the same Brighton, against the same team, PGMO decided to rob us 4 points against the same team in a single season. But okay, let's move ahead. And that game ended in the draw. Arsenal suffered their first home defeat of the season, the 2-0 loss to Newcastle in the EFL Cup semi-final in January. And yeah, Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon netted in that game. On the 12th January, the FA Cup third round facing Manchester United, Gabriel Jesus was stretchered off in the first half of that game with an area challenge against Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes actually opened the scoring for the visitors in the second half. Arsenal leveled through Gabriel Magalhaes, and after Diogo Jota was sent off, and Odegaard then saw his penalty saved. He further missed the chance. Kai Havertz and Rice, among others, missed hell of chances. And yeah, the Gunners ultimately lost 5-3 on penalties, and Havertz spot kick was saved. 2 days later, Arsenal confirmed that Gabriel Jesus was sustained injury. Arsenal returned to Premier League action on 15th January, hosting 12th place Tottenham. Then we do what we normally do in it. Arsenal won that game 2-1. Arteta's side played at home against 7th place Aston Villa on 18th January. Took the lead 2-0, and Villa managed to come back and drew that game 2-2. VAR and all of that. Well, but in the end, that game ended 2-2 at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal hosted Croatian League champions Dinamo Zagreb, and the rest was history. Won that game 3-0. The Gunners' 8th match on the month, that's in January, against 17th place Wolverhampton Wanderers on the road on the 25th of January. Academy players Marcus Kelly and Ethan Nwaneri were both named in the starting lineup, becoming the first 2 English players aged 18 or under together for Arsenal since 1998. In the 48th minute, or 43rd minute, Lewis Kelly tripped Matt Doherty just outside the box to stop the host defender breaking from an Arsenal corner. However, referee Michael Oliver controversially showed a straight red card. We all still remember that game as the foolishness of the PGMO. He showed a straight red card to young Miles. Yeah, he was sent off. David Raya, in the 63rd minute, David Raya produced a full stretch save to deny Cunha's deflected shot. 7 minutes later was midfielder Gomez received the second yellow card. His thoughts up on Timber. Then in the 74th minute, substitute Calafiori netted the only goal of the game. It came 1-0. Arsenal made a trip to Spain to face Girona. They won the game 2-1, which meant that the Gunners had secured consecutive away wins in the competition for the first time since December 2016. Can you imagine? That was actually a poor one. On 9 January, Arsenal announced that Brazilian forward Marquinhos had joined Serie A side Cruzeiro, and then that was it. The club did not sign any player in the winter transfer window. After the transfer window closed, there were 22 players in the first team squad, 2 goalkeepers, 9 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 5 forwards. 6 of the first team players were out on loan, and they want to win the league and win the Champions League, and possibly, overturn everything and win Newcastle's 2-0 lead or stuff like that, and go on and win everything. That was poor idea, absolute shambolic. In February, the Gunners played the home game against Manchester City on 2nd February. Odegaard put Arsenal ahead in the second minute, and as a matter of fact, that game entirely was a roller coaster, one of Arsenal's best game of the season. Scoring 5-1 on the day, with Marcus Kelly scoring his goal and telling Erling Haaland. It reminded Erling Haaland about 22nd of September. You asked me, bro. Now, this is my name. My name is MLS. You know what I mean? Miles Lewis, Rude Boy, Skelly. You get me? So, yeah, Arsenal won that game 5-1 on aggregate. And that goal from Ethan Nwaneri. Oh, my word. Arsenal travelled to Newcastle in the second leg of the EFL Cup and got mesmerized. The scoreline was 4-0. The game, the aggregate scoreline, was 4-0 after losing 3-0 or 2-0 there. So, yeah, and Newcastle advanced to the final against Liverpool, and the rest is history. They actually went on to win it. On the 6th of February, the squad traveled to Dubai, and all of that, refreshed, recharged, but you didn't get any new players, so you can't recharge the dead battery. They were tired. I mean, you can recharge so much tired battery. Come on, those batteries where you can't recharge them. You need to add fresh ions, fresh zinc, fresh lead or lead, fresh. You need to add fresh metals in it to be able to recharge it. You did nothing and you wanted to get recharged. Absolutely no. They were dumped, and the rest of the season was just rubbish. 10 days later, the winter transfer window closed, and the club confirmed the 13th February that Havertz has sustained hamstring injury. Again, woes continued. That actually happened in Dubai, with Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Saka already sidelined through injuries. Havertz's absence left Arsenal with just 2 first-team forwards. Oh my days. The Gunners returned to action with a game against 17th place Leicester City on 15th February, and with a scoreline standing at 0-0 in the 69th minute, Arteta brought on midfielder Merino as a makeshift striker. Oh my God, and I can still remember this game very well. Merino went on to score 2 goals on this game, on this day, and yeah, that was the announcement, the official announcement of Mikel Merino as Arsenal's number 9. On the 19th of February, the club confirmed that Tomiyasu has undergone surgery in his right knee and would be out until the end of 2025. Wow. Arsenal suffered the first home defeat, so you are not expected to see Tomiyasu even at the start of next season. He'll be out until 2025 December at least. Arsenal suffered the first team home defeat in the Premier League with a 1-0 loss to 16th place West Ham United. That was shocking. Jared Bowen scored a decisive goal, and yeah, Arsenal lost the first home game of the season. The Gunners faced 3rd place Nottingham Forest away on 26th February, and yeah, the game ended 0-0. Very poor. Nottingham Forest actually held out, and yeah, on March 4th, Arteta's men traveled to Netherlands to face PSV Eindhoven, and it was just, the rest was history. Goal galore, 7-1 in that game, and Arsenal dominated that game entirely, scoring 7 goals. Moving on, Arsenal faced 14th place Manchester United away on 9th March. They went behind on the stroke of halftime when Bruno Fernandes scored 25-yard free kick. The match ended 1-1, and that meant that Arsenal were 15 points behind leaders Liverpool. 15 points. Yeah. Oh my days. Next, Arsenal hosted PSV Eindhoven in the second leg of the Champions League on 16th March and on the 12th March, and drew that game 2-2 with Zinchenko and who again scoring that goal in that game. But was a much rested or much changed squad for that game. And Arsenal went into the international break, and at least 14 Arsenal players were out on that duty. In April, Arteta's side were home against 8th place Fulham on 1st of April. They lost Gabriel Magalhaes to injury. That was the day that Bukayo Saka, came into the team. This was the Spaniards' 6th Premier League goal, but went ahead. Arsenal actually went ahead through Mikel Merino, and it was the 6th Premier League goal for the Gunners this season, or the past season. His most, that was his most contribution in any single campaign in his league career. You know what I mean? Second half, substitute Saka marked his return 3 months from a 3-month injury. I don't know why it's called 3 months because it's almost 4 months. You know what I mean? 2 days later, Arsenal confirmed that Gabriel Magalhaes has sustained a hamstring injury and will require surgery. So Saka came in, Magalhaes went out. What hard luck. So the Gunners headed to Goodison Park for the 1-1 third or the 1-1 13th, I mean to say, and final game at the Goodison Park. Trossard opened the scoring. Everton were awarded a controversial penalty by referee Darren England. 1-1, it finished. Arsenal hosted 15 times and reigning European champions Real Madrid in the Champions League first leg on 8th of April. Miles Lewis Kelly was named in the starting lineup, becoming the second youngest English player to start in the Champions League quarter-final behind Jude Bellingham. After a goalless first half, which Raya saved a 1-on-1 chance with Kylian Mbappe, Rice broke the deadlock in the 58th minute when he called a strike around Real Madrid wall inside the visiting goalkeeper, you know what I mean, Thibaut Courtois. This was the first direct free kick from goal in his career, making him the 4th Arsenal player to score from a direct free kick in the Champions League after Alberto Mendes, Thierry Henry, Saka. Rice netted the second on the night with another free kick in the 70th minute. That definitely will be the best goal of the Champions League this past season, as he bent an effort past the outstretched Courtois and into the top right corner. In doing so, he became the 5th player in the Champions League history to score 2 direct free kick goals in the same game, after Rivaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, Hakim Ziyech. That is, he became the first player to score 2 goals in the Champions League knockout game. Merino added the 3rd 5 minutes later, sweeping the ball bottom left, from a Miles Lewis Kelly pass. And in the stoppage time, Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga was sent off, receiving the 2nd yellow card, and that was the end of that game. Not more to talk about it. It was a brilliant game at the Emirates Stadium, a game that lifted the speed in the Arsenal camp, that Arsenal could go on and do something in the Champions League, or rather go to the final or win it. The rest is history. It was reported on 9th April that Arteta's backroom staff had all penned new contracts with the club, which would keep them at Emirates Stadium until 2027. The Gunners played at home against 12th place Brentford on 12th of April. Games, not much to talk about. The counter-attacking goal finished off by Partey, but the visitors leveled through Wisa, and Arsenal failed to find a winner, and that game ended that way. On the 16th day of April, Arteta's men again traveled to Real Madrid for second leg Champions League quarter-final. In the 11th minute, Arsenal were awarded a penalty after VAR spotted Real Madrid defender Asensio had fouled down Mikel Merino from a corner, but Saka attempted Panenka, was clawed away by goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. And then in the 23rd minute, the hosts were given a spot kick of their own after Rice was adjudged to have pulled down Kylian Mbappe in the box. The decision was overturned following another VAR intervention. Saka redeemed himself on the 65th minute as he broke the offside trap to collect Mikel Merino's through ball and then chipped over Courtois. Real Madrid actually hit back 2 minutes later when a mistake from William Saliba gifted Vini Jr. a goal, but then Arsenal won the game in dynamic through Mikel Martinelli, and Arsenal ended up beating Real Madrid home and away in the Champions League quarter-final. Arsenal then went on to face 18th place Ipswich Town 20th of April, and it was a roller coaster, winning that game 4-0. Arteta's men also played at home against 12th place Crystal Palace. This time Palace came with a really strong will to win that game. If Palace had won that game, it means Liverpool would have won that league and on that very day. And even after going up through Jakub Kivior's header, Eberechi Eze leveled for the visitor, and then Leandro Trossard restored the lead, but Jean-Philippe Mateta, capitalized on Saliba's poor pass and then equalized and nearly won the game, as a matter of fact. But the game ended 2-2 they're gonna host their PSG, in the Champions League semi-final. First leg on 29 April, the French side dominated the opening stages and went ahead through Dembele's 4-minute goal, and that was all about that game. Arsenal lost that game in the first leg. In May, Arsenal suffered a second home defeat in the Premier League campaign with the 2-1 loss, to 10th place Bournemouth, and Rice marked his 100th appearance for the Gunners with an opener in the 34th minute, but lost that game to Bournemouth 2-1. On 7th May, Arteta's side traveled to PSG with a hope, to do that remontada, but yeah, despite going close so early through Rice, Odegaard, Martinelli, they're gonna stay first shot, and then Fabian Ruiz's shot was deflected by Saliba into the net, and they went 1-0 down in the 69th minute, and then David Raya so dived to his left to save Vitinha's 69th minute penalty as well. In the 72nd minute, Achraf Hakimi called home to double PSG's lead. Saka pulled a goal back on the 76th minute, but then blew a golden chance to draw level as well. And yeah, the rest was history in that game. Arsenal lost the game home and away to PSG, and PSG are currently in the Champions League final, which is to be played, when this video is out. PSG will be there in Munich, waiting to play the Champions League final. So they're gonna send it to Liverpool to take on the newly crowned champions, and yeah, that game the hosts went 2-0 up. Very poor first half from Arsenal, but then Arsenal came back strong in the second half, and the game ended 2-2. In the final home game of the season, Arteta's side faced third place Newcastle on 18th May. The goalkeeper Raya produced a man of the match display, and then of course Arsenal won that game 1-0 from Declan Rice bent shot into the net. And on the 21st May, the club announced that Timber had undergone ankle surgery, while William Saliba had injured the hamstring against Newcastle. They both will be out for a few weeks, which means if the season continued, that's the situation we would have found ourselves. Arsenal's 58th and final game of the campaign was, against 20th placed Southampton, and yeah, game was 1-1, and that defined the entire season. The season came to an end with Arsenal 10 points behind winners and champions Liverpool on 74 points, and yeah, that's the history. That's everything that transpired during the course of the season. It was a very poor season. These are the details of everything that happened, that transpired, both from the red cards, the injuries, and everything, the matches played, how it panned out, and all of that. Let me know, what do you think? What are the major highlights? What were your major highlights, of the season? Where do you think that Arsenal went wrong? What did you think that Arsenal did wrong? What did you think that the players did wrong? What did you think that Premier League as a body did wrong, or the PGM or whoever? How or why did Arsenal, having challenged Manchester City so close in the last two seasons, had 89 points in the previous season, but then fall, about 15 points or so, short this season, and couldn't beat Liverpool to the title. If you compare the previous seasons, you note that there is a massive drop, both in games won, games lost, games drawn. There is a drop. The points in. So where did this all go wrong? For me, everything went wrong with the draws. And why the draws? Arsenal dropped no less than 21 points, if not 27, I'm not sure, from winning positions. No matter what the decisions are against you, two red cards, I don't care, but you are in a winning position. You're winning 2-0 at home to flipping Aston Villa. And what do? You drew that game 2-2. That was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. You were 1-0 up against Brighton at home. At home, got a red card. Fine, see it out, see it out. A lot of decisions. Manchester City, I've said that before, too much respect. Yes, you should have done that, but that was too much, that was extreme. The draws. If we had converted, out of the 14-15 draws we had, if we had just converted half of that draws into wins, we won the league. We won the league. We absolutely won the league. This is where the season went wrong. And yeah, because there are a lot of details to talk about, because this video has been so long, I won't be able to continue, giving all the breakdown and stuff like that. But this is actually where the season went wrong, and we should have done better. Arsenal should have done better in January. I don't care, even if your target. Yeah, I was one of those who were saying that if the desired striker is not there, it's better you don't buy. But you should have gotten someone on loan, bringing a player on loan. I said that. I said bring in a player on loan that can come to the end of the season. We have many strikers in Italy, many strikers in Germany, that can come and do a job. They will be willing to come and do a job. You didn't bring none. You see players moving to Juventus, strikers moving to Juventus in Germany, strikers moving to France. They're strikers that you can bring that can come and help the team instead of banking on a midfielder to score goals for you. That was horrendous. And that was where the season actually went wrong. Who is this up to? For me, it's not just up to the board. Everybody, including Mikel Arteta, because that guy, he should have drafted his plan earlier enough. He should have been able to state for facts that, yeah, this is what I need and it must be provided, else this is this and this, A plus B, C plus D. It's not going to happen. It's as simple as making a request. You are now putting yourself under pressure in the coming season. You are absolutely going to be under ruthless pressure. A ruthless pressure. And yeah, come on guys. And yeah, this is just the overview of the entire season. Generally, we will be bringing another video that talks about each player and with the player of the season. We're going to be rating every player. The video is going to be coming out just immediately after this video. And yeah, just watch out for that. We will be on to this very soon. Thank you for watching this content. Make sure you smash a like on this content. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notification, and yeah, I will be back on this show very soon.
Welcome back to the show. It's Essien, and welcome back to Maximum Pointsport channel. We have so much to talk about. To our old subscribers, you are welcome, and to the new one, you're welcome. And if you're just coming across the channel for the first time, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Make sure you watch till the end. Yes. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we have so much to talk about. So today we'll be talking about the player of the season, the Arsenal player of the season. For me, I voted for Declan Rice, Gabby, and David Raya. Like from the top, Declan Rice was the first, Big Gabby and David Raya. Declan Rice is my best player because of his consistency over the whole of this season. He has become a match winner. Like you all can see it, the Real Madrid match, Champions League. He actually told us, okay, fine, I'm worth this amount of money you guys bought me for. And he didn't have a good start from the beginning of the season, but along the line, it was incredible. And him becoming the player of the season was well deserved. The second was Big Gabby. Gabby gave us goals. His absence cost us a lot on the pitch, and we also lost a lot defensively. Well, he got injured and he was out for most of the season, but he did well. He did well. He gave us so much, like the walls of Emirates. Him and Saliba, they played so much, and he did incredible. But then let us not talk about the number of points he won us with his goal. And the third one, David Raya. Well, he won the Golden Gloves Award for the most consistent clean sheet in the Premier League, and that for me was a well-deserved one alongside Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. So that is it for my best player of the season. And right now we're going to move over to the preseason. Yes, you all know the fixtures is out. And right now, Arsenal's 2025 preseason tour is set to offer fans an exciting glimpse of what lies ahead of the club. Well, I'm looking forward to this preseason because this game will help Arteta to meet and also assess tactical plans, fitness level, and also the integration of fresh faces like the new players we're going to buy into the squad. Playing against Tottenham in the magnificent new Kaitai Stadium will be a great experience for both the players and for both teams and the supporters. This match is an important part of a pre-season game ahead of the new season, and the fans are eager to watch these fiery fixtures on foreign soil. Yes, this is outside of Europe. This summer tour is going to be a great one, and we cannot look forward to it. And as we all know, the summer tour is more than just a preparation. I feel it's a strategic commercial move as Arsenal continue to grow their global brand, and also for new signings to make their debut appearance. I don't know which signings they are going to make. Maybe we hope to see Sesko and Mark Zubimendi playing or the preseason. Maybe if you're able to get them before then, this would be a great time for them to make their appearance during the tour, and we cannot wait to witness that. So guys, that will be all for today. Make sure you comment, you subscribe, you like and share. Yes, very important for you to subscribe, you like, you comment and you share. See you all next time.